Yo, what is up guys, Grim here, and today we have the results of a 20 memory fragment long maximum modifier run. I'm going to show you guys the breakdown of the loot and talk a little bit about how I set it up and if I think it was worth it. So there's been a lot of controversy around the synthesis mechanic and if it is rewarding, and this should be your answer to that. Just a bit of a backstory here, just to kind of give you some context on how long this run took to set up. The initial setup was 20 tiles, and I made sure that they were all 3 durability so that they could be run without disintegrating beneath me while I'm trying to clear all the mobs. Of course, I cleared all the mobs, and I also had magic find gear on, the complete package minus just the gloves, the Sedema gloves. That's the only thing I was missing, so maximum MF possible with the item rarity gem. So in general, in terms of how many tiles and maps it took me to build up this specific setup, I would estimate that it took around 40 to 50 maps to get the initial 20 memory tiles with 3 durability that all fit together in a suitable way. So that's 40 to 50 maps already, and that's quite an investment for any player. Next up, I needed to acquire the maximum amount of memory modifiers, which ended up being around 17 for a 20 kind of long memory chain. You can see my chain there just popping up. I'll show you guys in game. I still have it there to show you guys. But yeah, it was about 17 modifiers, so I needed to hit quite a few of the memory modifier nodes. So I counted how many tiles I was using, and on average it was around 5 to 7 tiles per modifier that I could acquire. So that's about 1.5 modifiers per kind of trip that I would go. Like I'd do 10 maps, come back, get like 1.5 modifiers. Obviously this can be sped up if you get better, but that was around 85 tiles overall to acquire the modifiers. So if you add up the bare minimum, if you make no mistakes, you don't brick any of the memory modifier things, and you don't brick any maps, and all the pieces fit together suitably, which they did not, I would like to add, then it's going to be around 125 maps to build a 20 long chain with what we currently understand. So that is a lot of damn maps. And if you compare that to Betrayal and how we farmed Betrayal, we should be expecting at least a 2 to 3, maybe even 4 Exalt return if we min-max everything, because that's what you got from pure Breachstones and Scarabs by selling them at market price all throughout the league. So I think that's a pretty fair assumption. Other leagues have had similar returns as well. So we'll dive straight into the results and kind of like what my memory chain looks like. So here is my chain here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way down here, and this is the second part of it. We have 2 prongs here, and you can see that we have a ton of modifiers on here. Due to the way that modifiers work, they are not spread evenly. Once you hit a cap on the modifiers, they will start not being applied to everything until you like wipe off tiles from the screen. It's a little bit weird, but I managed to hit the cap on all of my tiles here, and we'll go through the modifiers that I ran into and the ones which are most impactful here, and then obviously we'll talk about the results. So to begin with, we have a lot of duplicate modifiers on here. The item quantity ones do in fact stack, so you can see I've got 1% chance to drop a currency item here. I did check and they do stack when you get in there. It says 2%, so that's good. When you're picking these out though, a lot of them look pretty good on paper, like rare monsters have a 20% chance to be corrupted and all of this stuff, but when we get to the results you'll understand that that's simply not the case, and we'll talk about that right now. So we'll go over here and we'll check out exactly how much loot we got, and we'll really see just how good synthesis is. So overall, I would say that the league does have potential, but this is how much loot I got from investing 125 maps worth of my time, but in reality it was more like 150 plus. This is all the loot I got with maximum magic find for fully maxed out memory fragments, and 20 of them at that. I got probably, I would say, around 70 or 80 C to be generous worth of stuff, if that. I would actually say a lot less than that, probably about 50 or 60 C maybe, just because of the Chayula splinters and the Zoth splinters. there's just not a whole lot of value here. You could argue my loot filter is too strict and I don't pick up uniques below 3C, but I don't think that the 3C uniques would really make up what we're missing here. And that is a lot. We're missing a lot of value here for the amount of time, investment, and effort that we put in. And I'm a little bit disappointed, to be honest. So I did want to kind of continue this video and maybe talk about things that I could have improved on to get better results, but I just don't think that you could really do anything with this mechanic to even get close to the profit that you could in Betrayal that I currently know of. So to begin with, I want to make sure that everyone understands that this isn't a perfect run. So a lot of my tiles are actually blue, and that does reduce the item quantity on the tiles quite significantly. So you can see we've got a big tile here, maybe it's got more pack size, like 40% quantity and 24 pack size, versus some of these which has 6% pack size. So that may contribute a little bit to the loot, but that's not going to get us too much over 100C, I would say, in profit. So let's say you completely max out all yellow tiles. That's going to increase the amount of time it takes to set up your memory tiles significantly, but that will increase your loot, obviously. The next thing that I could have changed is that I could have done very specific layouts with only the highest mob density. For example, there's one memory fragment, the arcade memory fragment, that has just way more monsters in it than any other one, and that could, if I had 20 arcade ones, maybe that would also increase the loot. Maybe that is a reason why it's so low. Another possibility is that I didn't abuse these yellow squares at all, really. I don't have any of these on here, but if you actually look at it, doubling the quantity of stuff in there, that's great, but a lot of the currency and the breach splinters, which was a lot of the profit here, the breach splinters was, that's the quantity will not affect that, to my knowledge. It's a flat percentage chance. Group loot won't affect it, quantity won't affect it, that's not changing, so actually having that there is no good. However, there is one specific one which may also make it a lot better, and that is the, I don't have it on my atlas right now, but that is the triple global modifier square. That would probably increase profits quite a lot, but if you think about it logically, that's only going to turn one island's worth of island into 3 at the most. And I had 20 islands here, so that would take me from 20 to 22. Is that really going to increase my profits that much? I don't think so, honestly. So the squares aren't really a big deal either, in my opinion. So we can't get, if we could do the yellow islands, we could do the layouts, and we could do the yellow squares here. Those are all things we could do. There's also more possibilities. It's possible that maybe we don't want 20 and we want 10 instead. So the way that the global modifiers work is that there's not, to my knowledge, a specific cap on how many modifiers you can have on a single island, but it's actually the total atlas itself. So if I have modifiers on all of these, I'm not going to be able to get as many on a certain small amount of islands. So I would assume it's probably a cap of like 200 or something mods on the entire atlas, and once you hit that cap, it just won't apply all of the modifiers to all your islands anymore, and that's the cap that I was hitting, and that's why you see tons on here and less over here, because I hit the cap and then it only hit this island because I had too many modifiers on the atlas. So you could concentrate the modifiers on a smaller number of islands, and potentially that could make it a lot more profitable, because you're stacking things like the quantity, the synthesized chests, which could then in turn drop things like the breach splinters and stuff like that, possibly, which could be pretty good. And maybe that's a possible outcome there to increase your profits, but again, I'm not sure that that would really push it anywhere even close to how much currency you could make in Betrayal or even any other league. Like even doing beachheads was even more profitable than this. So that's that. And the final thing, which could be a possibility for my poor drops, is the modifiers themselves. This is a particularly frustrating one because there is really no way to influence what modifiers you get. There's no blocking. It doesn't say what modifier it's going to give you on the node. It's just completely random. So you could spend hours and hours and hours trying to build this chain and just get no good modifiers. Something that is really highlighted here is that the one breach modifier that gives splinters actually outperformed every single other modifier on this. The one breach splinter one. And that's pretty crazy, and it really speaks volumes to just how many bad modifiers are on the memory kind of conduit things. If you actually pull up the memory modifiers, there is pretty much only a few which are really good, and those are all three. The breach splinter ones, in my opinion, are pretty good to get cellular splinters, which don't appear to be weighted. Looking at our results here, you can see we get just as many of the cellulars as Esh, so they are unweighted. Potentially, if you get a lot of breach modifiers and a lot of fossil modifiers, and then you triple it with that square, maybe you could make a lot of money. I haven't tested the fossil one at length, but potentially if fossils are not weighted either, and you could get like 4 bloodstained fossils, that might also be good. But that's pretty much everything that I think that you can really do with the memory global modifiers. That's excluding all the bugs, the issues that we have with the memory nexus, and the struggles to even set this up. The rewards just feel a little lackluster. I think that you should remove... Actually, I think the best thing to do would be just to combine all of the magic, normal, and rare modifiers into one modifier. So instead of just monsters have a 1% chance to drop a currency item, it's monsters have a 1% chance, magic have X, and then rares have X, Y, whatever. And then that would make it feel a lot more rewarding to pick up these global modifiers, and it would feel a lot less RNG because there's just less of them. And that would be very, very good in my opinion. So that's going to be the results of global modifiers, guys. I might try one more big run, really trying to focus down on those things that I messed up. But other than that, I can't really see any other way of getting more currency out of the global modifier kind of side of it. The only other thing which we could consider is that getting fractured items could be really, really powerful. I know some of them are selling for around 1 or 2 exalts, specifically Hubris, Circlets, and Var Regalias. Yeah, you have to run Decaying Zones, and in my opinion, Decaying Zones are best run in maps. So that's going to be that, guys. That is the global modifiers. I will keep people posted on my channel if I find out anything or any other way to make these things good. But that's going to be that. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.